All right, thank you everyone. Thanks for coming to my panel on a holistic version or investigation of the dark web. My name is Kirby Plessas. This is my first kind of BSides or any of the type of InfoSec conferences. Thank you very much. My career history, I started out with the military. I was actually a signal intelligence analyst, Arabic linguist. At the DoD, so basically what I did was I sat on the headphones, listened to Saddam Hussein's army, and figured out where they were. When I left the army, I went to DC here, and I started working in the intelligence community, and one of the things that my target was no longer SIGINT, it was OSINT, Open Source Intelligence. This is in 2003. My mission was to find specific facilities and find out what their governments were putting about them online. Many of those facilities were not online at all, right? Especially in 2003, but their government was zip about that. But the funny thing that I discovered was this is the beginning of social networking, social media. All the people were putting information around whatever's around them online, and what happened to be around them was some of the facilities I was interested in. So my eyes went wide open. I kind of dove into this kind of OSINT analysis of everything I could get to, and I ended up getting, some great kudos. I was able to roll together my company. Most of the stuff that I do now is no longer intelligence community stuff. I mostly do investigations for, in some cases, federal, and some cases, private corporations. All right, so I work with big organizations. I come into their offices and help train up their people on how to do some of these investigations. Big target right now, dark web, right? So we're going to talk today about doing dark web investigations, kind of my style of doing the OSINT side of it. I'm not going to talk about forensics at all. I know that you guys are way smarter than me for forensics, and I'm not even going to touch that stuff. But I'm going to tell you my methodology and the things I'm looking for when I do an investigation online. All right, so we are going to be using the Tor browser, and you see that I'm actually using a VM, and that is my recommendation. Use a VM and VPN, ideally, for your dark web investigations. Let's zoom this thing out. All right, so I just installed this VM, actually, so I'm going to actually have to go to Google for a little bit and do some looking for my dark web cases. We're going to start by checking out one of the big markets that are out there. We'll go to deep.web.com. How many of you are familiar with deep.web? Anybody here work for them? No? Okay. I love their site. I mean, they're very agnostic about what they think about on the deep web, but they do. And maybe I'm zoomed up or something. The last settings when I did the browser settings, they kind of went a little crazy for me as far as sizing things. Look at that. Right? So I think what I might do is go and see if I can't play with the sizes really quick here. So let's see. Displays. All right, let's see if that works better for me. What are you doing? You're still crazy. All right, well, just if I do it. Yeah, it works okay, but I can't get to the deep.web site is a little bonky on it. But all right, do you see what I'm saying? Where it's and I can't seem to change it. All right, so anyway, deep.web. We're going to their markets list, and I'm going to go into the I wonder if I can minimize that. Let's see. So I'm on Chrome in my VPN, and that's what's messing us up is the display settings here. All right, well, they've got Dream Market here. So I'm going to grab the Dream Market address, and we can kind of go into the Dream Market and take a look at what's going on with that. I'm sure many of you are aware of the different markets that have gone down in the past year. Yes? Familiar with the Alpha Bay case? Familiar with the Hansa market? Those are taken down by a multinational group led by the incredible Dutch National Police. They have a conference every year I go to. I love their following what they're doing. If you're very interested in following the Dutch National Police with their criminal cases, they've also got one of the best dark web market websites I've seen. Or not market, but dark websites. All right, so anyway, we're going to go into the Dream Market. We'll go take out, do a little recon around a person. I'm not on Tor right now, so my dark web market didn't work, so I'm just going to grab this and pop that into my Tor browser here. Normally I have this all as bookmarks. All right, so I've got tons of bookmarks on my regular Tor, and you do want to make sure that you do save your bookmarks because, of course, Tor isn't going to, or at least a file with your different websites, because Tor is just going to wipe you out every time you close it, and I close it often. Problem with Tor is that, of course, you are dependent on the bandwidth of whoever you happen to be writing across at the moment. So I'm always switching new identities, kind of reloading all the time. Dream Market right now, they are requiring you to actually log in to even see anything anymore, but we'll just create a new account right now. So now today I am in inevitable exaltation, right? So all right, and all right, so in the Dream Market, we're going to take a look at any individual. I'm just going to pick somebody randomly. I don't want to pinpoint either a case that's going on right now or any of my cases that are going right now. So we're just going to grab the first person we see, who happens to be, I think it was Weed 365, something like that. Yep, so Weed 365. Okay. What we're hoping to find here is somebody who has a little bit of history, right? Somebody who's got some good recommendations. He's got 160 successful transactions with a pretty high recommendation. So he does have some history. You'll find some with in the thousands, 2000s, whatever. Those are going to be your low-hanging fruit, the ones that you're going to be able to get to the easiest, at least get most on. Although the fact that they're successful for that long may tell you that it's different. I'm going to go through everything this guy has on his profile for his page, and every single piece of information that's any bit unique is going to be collected by me, and I'm going to collect it in Social Network Analysis Tool. So I'm popping out of my VM for a moment, and we're going to take a look at, this is just case file. I know many of you are probably familiar with Maltego. Anybody here use Maltego? Right? Love Maltego. Even their base tool, case file, is something I would consider worthwhile. If you're not familiar with these social network analysis tools, this is going to be the way that you're going to be able to organize everything. Best social analysis tools, better than Maltego. Even if you have Maltego, I would say if you can invest in I2 Analyst Notebook or Palantir, do it. I know Palantir leaves a bad taste in some people's mouth, leaves a good taste in mine because that tool is amazing. All right, if you haven't seen it. They have a web version now. I don't trust web version tools like that. So, I2 Analyst Notebook. Yep, so that one, and if you want later on, I can show you where this is. If you're not familiar with Maltego, the company Paterva, they're out of South Africa, they produce Maltego. Casefile is their free, just the basic social network analysis tool. It does nothing automatic. You do everything manual. You can import spreadsheets into it and map them, but everything else is completely manual, and it doesn't export to Excel. So when you put something in, you come out in its report, and that's it. But if you have nothing else, this tool is great, and I'm all about the free tools. Like, if you come and have me come talk to your group at all, or come to any of my conference talks, I am all about free tools. Use as much free as possible, right? So I pimp this one as much as possible, and then usually people end up getting the Maltego as well because it's not terribly expensive. It's nowhere near, for example, I2 Atlas Notebook or Palantir. I think the classic version is $700-something, and then at $300 a year to keep going, right? It's super simple. But here, even so, we're just going to take every detail we find and we're going to map it independently. Goal, of course, is to create this type of map and find the hidden linkages. If you don't have the stuff mapped, you're not going to be able to find some of those linkages that don't jump out at you. In my example here, I have a very rudimentary thing I just threw together today. I've got, of course, here's my darknet account. Clone cards. There's a couple of different groups of clone cards that are actually in the dark web, and we're going to go to that website in a few minutes. But on it has an email, right? And we assume that there is a suspect that runs clone cards, maybe a group of suspects, right? And they also have some unique content on their page. And so in this case, I just grabbed the sum phrase that's already built into case file for that. I look on the internet and I find a website that has the same unique ID or unique content on their page that does not mean that they are clone cards, right? There could be 100 different ones, but it means that I'm going to pay attention to them. Now, an example would be maybe the guy who runs this dark web website. He designs everything is blue. His logo is blue. Everything's blue. When he's over on any other website, his character is blue. Everything. Okay, maybe that guy's blue. That doesn't mean everybody in here wearing blue is my crook, but it means I'm looking at you, because maybe you are, right? We have a major verification problem on the internet right now. We have a lot of people who are, amateur analysts, and then they see somebody walking, so Boston bombing, the guy had a backpack, they watch the video, everybody with a backpack, they start digging into. Remember that, yeah, it's somebody to pay attention to, but now we've got to go back and verify. So we find that website, we find their IP address, if you can get an IP, which of course is the problem with the dark web, you can't get the IP, but that IP address, you can go track who else is sitting on that IP address with them. Maybe it's only 3 sites. Again, that doesn't mean these 3 sites are actually guaranteed to be related to the first site, but that means now I'm looking at you. One of the sites, tracking the email, takes me to a guy who has a Facebook page who likes the page that's claiming to be a representative of my dark web site, right? Again, this still doesn't mean that page on Facebook is even related to the dark website, because there can be, somebody just claiming to be, but I can identify that very quickly in a map like this, and you can see right there where my lines are red or orange, dotted or dashed. I can identify also that these things are not, 100%, and it can convey that to an audience pretty easily. So I do think it's critical if you're doing any kind of investigation. I don't care, you use the social network analysis tool, and in your tool, don't separate all of your investigations. If you have the capability, put them all in one big lump, because one investigation can tie to another one, and you would never know it if they're in 2 different files. In some cases, I might have a file for this investigation, but then I'll have a master file that I will then go and save it to later, because you don't want necessarily the people who are giving this investigation to get access to everybody's investigation, right? So you'll have a master file where you just go see if they will link up. All right, let's leave that and let's go talk about the dark web. This part's more exciting, right? When we get actually back into, no, not that one. Let's see, VMware. All right. So back to our Tor browser here, and back to this. This guy, he's got, his name, V365. That's the first thing I'm putting out on the analysis tool, and I'm putting suspects, so 2 people, or 2 items. Then I'm saying he's got a dream market profile, and I'm actually going to take this address and I'm going to throw that in there as well. V365 I'm going to identify as a possible username, and as I scroll down, anything in here that I think is unique that maybe anybody else would have worded differently, I will copy and put aside as well. There was a case where there were some hackers, they claimed to be Iranian hackers, and they were hacking pages, defacing them, but they were leaving a specific signature. They were spelling something the way Iranians would never have spelled it, right? And they're the only ones who were putting them that way. We could track them around the internet just based on how they put their, how they worded something. PGP key, I'm going to keep that as well. That's going to be another file, because maybe they're advertising this in some other forum somewhere to talk to them. So, And then, of course, anything that they're selling, especially if they name it something special, they don't name it the regular, they might have blueberry superweed, whatever, but then they might have their own branding on it of some sort. Every single image I'm going to download. Now, on this browser, I don't have it right now, but this Tor browser inside my VM is just a Firefox browser, right? It's already built in with some tools. I'm actually going to add a couple more tools to my Firefox browser. Number one tool I'm going to go in there and add, and there's a bunch of tools that do this, but this is just my favorite, is a tool called Scrapbook. You guys familiar with that old add-on? It's been there forever, right? All it does is index that website. It's just going to download that website onto the hard drive of your device, and you're going to be able to go through it on your own at any time. When you're on this site, for example, here in his page on Dream, that might not be terribly useful for us, but when we talk about we find his own vendor site, we can index the whole thing. He may have a search engine. We don't have to use it. We're going to index it ourselves, and then we can go through the files with our own filters. A forum. You find the forum your person's talking on, especially if it's not indexable by Google. I mean, if you can do Google Docs to do it, great. You can do site:/forum.com and look for him and try and find everything saying. But if some of these forums that they're on is purposely not indexable by Google because they don't want you to do that, you go to the forum, you use something like Scrapbook. This is the one I actually use, the old-fashioned one right here. Use something like Scrapbook, index everything you can, go filter through it yourself and do your own searches. Because if you do your searches on that forum, keep in mind that they have access to the logs of that, and they can look. If you're looking just for, Weed 365, then they know who you're looking for, and they may actually alert that person. All right, let's go back to his page. Every single one of these images, I'm going to do a reverse image search for. They've gotten a lot smarter in the last few years about not having those images be something that they really took with their phone, right? But I'm going to go and I'm going to find out where exactly it is on the internet. You need to save this to your hard drive. Some of the things that I like to point out about image search, I'm actually minimized Tor here, maybe. There we go. We'll minimize Chrome there as well. Something that I like to point out about image search is that there are a lot more things than just getting metadata or reverse image search for images. So Chrome, we're going to do image searches on Chrome. I can actually open any of my files on Chrome, and I have a file. My Flickr Bear file here is kind of my demo file. This one we're going to grab our metadata from, but I want to add a couple of tools to my Chrome browser to kind of show you there's some great EXIF tools out there, add-ons. Your file, even if you just download it to your hard drive, you can open it in Chrome, right? Right-click Open with Chrome, because Chrome has some great add-ons. The EXIF add-ons for Chrome are much better than the ones for Firefox. Of them, these top two right here are my favorite. EXIF Viewer, the very first one, and then Send to EXIF Viewer. I really like these. And all you have to do is type EXIF Viewer Chrome for these. I'm going to add these in briefly, and then we will talk about reverse search and some other tools. So EXIF Viewer, all it does is puts a little panel across the top that'll tell you whether or not it has EXIF. It's like a preview to the EXIF. I'm going to click Add to Chrome, Add Extension. This is going to be super fast, I think. Send to EXIF Viewer. This one lets you get a right-click menu. You can automatically send everything to the EXIF Viewer. So we'll add that one as well. On my toolbar now at the top, I've got a little EXIF and I've got a little camera. Let me zoom in if this will work there. Yes, all right. There's my zoom tool. You can see my little camera and my EXIF box. When I go back to my Flickr Bear, I'm going to refresh that. And now I have a little panel that says, hey, there is EXIF data here. Every picture you go on that whole Chrome browser is going to now say no EXIF, or it's going to preview all the EXIF. It's going to be that fast, including if you're searching your reverse search. I'll show you that in a moment. All right, the little GPS thing, I hover over that. It's got a nice map. All right, so the other one was right-click it and send it image metadata viewer. Remember, if you have your picture that you downloaded off of dark website, open it in Chrome, right-click it, send to image metadata viewer, and you're done with it, right? You already got, if it has any metadata, it's already here for you. Okay, a couple other things. If you do get a picture that is coming from a camera with metadata, besides with metadata, you can also, let me show you another example one I have on there. Oops. And I'm looking at somebody else's stuff now. Let's see. There we go. So here's another picture, hovering over, there's metadata, right-click it, I send it to the metadata viewer, grab my metadata. This one is not a cell phone. This is a Canon EOS 10D, so it's actually a DSLR, right? The cell phones don't leave extra data in the metadata. So there, for example, there's no cell phone number in your metadata, there's no IMEI, there's no serial number, but the things that are not cell phones leave serial numbers. That could be a trail cam, that could be a smart camera, that could be this DSLR, right? So I'm going to zip to that serial number. There's our serial number, and I'm going to grab that serial number as well and pop that over into Stolen Camera Finder. Now, I know there's another tool out there like this, but stolencamerafinder.com, the idea is you throw in your serial number or you load up a thing and it's going to show you where on the web pictures from that camera are showing up, right? So I'm going to say I have no photo, all I have is the serial number. I'm going to hit enter. Now, this tool is not a free tool. It actually can give you a lot more data. It can zip you right to that image that they found with the serial number on, and it'll have more results. It is worthwhile paying for this tool. One of the few tools that I say, yes, pay for this tool right now because it is $7.99 a month. All right, this is not an expensive tool. However, at the moment, just to see, hey, are they really getting good results, I can click into this, one of the preview pictures, right-click it, search Google for image. You get your Google search, you hit all sizes. Now, anytime you do a Google search for image, always hit this all sizes. Use those add-ons that you had and wiggle over. And the first one always gives you whatever at first, but there you go. There's your image with the metadata on it, so you can match them together. All right? So do that with all your pictures. And again, some of the pictures, I mean, they are getting smarter. Some of the pictures, they're just copying off of news reports. A seized drug report, okay, here you go. You know, the cops' own pictures they'll put forward as their product on the dark web. All right, well, at least identify where those are because maybe they're also advertising them somewhere else. Not everything is in the dark web that you would consider dark web content, and I think you guys know this better than anybody. That same dark web stuff is on the regular web too because they're trying to sell it, and they need their customers, and if their customers aren't smart enough or brave enough to go in the dark web, then they've got to get to them somewhere else. I consider there's a whole domain I consider pretty much the dark web, site:/su, right? So right now I'm doing a site search for a .su domain. .su, what was that? Does anybody know what .su is? Soviet Union, exactly. And now it's run by a single company in Russia, and there's all sorts of stuff going across that. So you can find, of course, here's hacked credit cards or credit card clone shops, right? Not everything in the dark web is in the dark web, so you know, look beyond that as well. Back to our dark website. There's also a series of link lists in there that will help you find dark web because, again, they need to find their customers. To find their customers, they need to make a marketplace. The idea behind the dark web, the whole reason they're on there is they don't want the customers to know who they are, and they don't want to know who their customers are. So there's no, you know, if one person gets seized, they can't tell on the other person, right? So they're marketing, and there's link lists that they market in. These link lists usually exist on Pastebin, right? So that's where I'm going to go grab mine right now. But, of course, you can get them also floating around in other places. Pastebin, their search tool, I think, is garbage, so I'm actually going to skip it. We're going to go to site. Sorry if Pastebin's in here. I offend companies all the time. But, okay, so we'll go to site:/pastebin.com. I'm just going to find, you know, Hidden Wiki is not my favorite of the link lists, but it's the one with a name that you can jump on easily. So Hidden Wiki and then quote .onion. And from here, I can get some of the link lists. I will, of course, limit myself time-wise. I'm not going to choose just any time. And the reason I'm not going to do that is because some of those link lists, their information is so old and just dead, right? Past year, I would say at least do that, but I'm going to custom range it. And we'll say from today, and we'll go back a couple of months. So maybe September to today. We get a couple of link lists in here. Let's see. I know that there was one that I thought I was finding some good results on. Here's a really recent one, February 4th, right? I can search for Hidden Wiki. Oh no, this doesn't look like the one I want. They have one listing for the hidden wiki. There are many hidden wikis out there, so this link list is very limited. So I don't want this one, so I'm going to kill this one and we're going to go grab a different one. Did I just kill my search too? I did. All right. There we go. All right, again, back to my tools, back to my anytime. Let's go custom range again. Oops, not just this month, right? Let's go back. All right. Which one of these is the one that I want to grab? We'll try that. Also, when you look at something like Hidden Wiki or the other link lists, there is actually a battle. That's the junkiest, stupidest one I've ever run across. Okay, so let's get out of that one. And that's an example probably of the battle that's going on in the dark web for the link lists themselves. So the link lists, some of them have advertisers, and they're battling against the other link lists. They want you to come to them. So they will put up a link list on Pastebin, so you will find their link list. The other websites on the link list, their link will be broken. Oh, that one doesn't load. Oh, guess what? This one loads fine. I guess I'll use this link list, right? So keep in mind that you probably want to go through multiple link lists if you decide to do this for grabbing some links. Let's see what we got here. This one looks, oh yeah, here we go. So here's some, they have a whole section here called link lists, and they probably got a whole section called wikis as well. Oh yeah, it's right above. There we go. So all of these I would go through. Also, have you guys, anyone run across Hunchley in their dark web report? Right? So he's just crawling the dark web, finding which ones actually hit on real websites, and he's sending out a list of links. Can't guarantee what's behind those links, right? Some of it might be stuff you don't want to look at. But you can get tons of other sources for link lists than just this. This is just one way. If you want to kind of dive in really quick and take a look at some stuff, go through here. So, for example, here's Visitor. This is a pretty thorough link list. We will take that now to Tor. Another source of good links for dark web, if you're doing drug investigations for dark web drug stuff, is Reddit. There's a whole darknet markets section of Reddit. They've got a super list. They've got link lists of the big markets like Dream that we looked at here. They also have some links for individual vendor shops. And again, I'd say, if you're going to do some amateur investigations, be careful, because not everybody in these darknet markets, in these vendors shops, are really vendors, right? In some cases, they may be somebody else who's doing an investigation, more on the official side of things. All right, but anyway, this is Visitor. This is their link list site. Don't go in this one, right? Unless you want to see that stuff. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna actually go and grab instead the uncensored hidden wiki. And, oops, make sure I grab all of it. Because I think my guy who I'm going to use as an example is just straight right in the middle of the front of this page. If it loads, there we go. Looking for the uncensored hidden wiki. And remember, they're all battling each other. If you really want to have some fun in the dark web, figuring out who's who and everything, you guys are familiar with how Wikipedia works, right? There's a history page, and in that history page, you can see everybody who makes every comment, and you can actually, go back, and if a page is wiped out, go to the history, go back and see what was said, etc. You'll see the battles between the link list people, right? There's crazy battle. Okay, I'll put my link on your link list if you'll let me put, if you'll do this one, blah, blah, blah. They'll make this big deal of, deals of handshaking, and then, oh, I hate you now because you took this link out, whatever. It's crazy. Okay, while this is loading, let me tell you what, so imagine we went to the hidden wiki and we got somebody to pick on. One of the things that I look for when I'm looking for dark web sites, and we'll just do it with Harry 71 right there. We're investigating the site. Not only we're looking at the site for all of the different email addresses, all the different bits, the actual address of the site is also something to investigate. We take that back to Chrome, and we actually just even search in just as if it's a username. Number one thing I'm looking for are reviews about them. Second thing I'm looking for are these scraper sites, like onion.link right there. Onion.link, all it does is rehost the dark web content on their site, right? So that you can look at through it using Google. So I'm going to use that as an archive. Archive.org doesn't exist in the dark web. But all of these sites like that, like onion.link, onion.to, onion.nu, onion.cab, onion.city, onion.rip, all these other ones that are out there, they're indexing the sites, and they index them at different periods of time. Some of them have, two pages, the 2 pages you can get to when you actually go to this page. Some of them have 7 pages, the 7 pages that really exist on that site that are now unlinked because whoever owns the site, I'm working on those pages, or I'm not selling that anymore, or whatever it is, but maybe still exist out there. So we'll take that site now, and we will do a site search. And we'll do .onion, .link, and actually just keep a file of all the possible different combos that exist. As soon as you come across them, just add them to your file and start cycling through them. We're going to find the ones that actually work for this one for just a minute, so I'm going to do the in URL. So in URL : the website. None of them work for this one. Just the one we found was a referral, actually. So let me show you what I mean. No, it's somebody else's. All right. So someone else's dark website lists our guy Harry. I think Harry 71's down anyway. And I just clicked into that. Onion.link, right? This is what that website says. It's clearly what you want to go visit. Okay, but we'll grab him instead, since Harry is down, and apparently all the sites have updated and noted that he's down. All right. We would do site, the website we're looking, .link. We see 2 on this one. We do .cab. Cab might be down, actually, but we'll see. We do .rip. There's also something called the Onion Scanner. Your website's not showing up on any of these. You can add it to the Onion Scanner, and it will end up on Tor to Web. So you can do site : Tor to Web. I think it's a 2. Let's see. Tor to Web. Shoot, I don't remember Tor to Web's ending. Org. Okay. So site : tortoweb.org. And then put in... Oh, thank you. I'm the worst speller, by the way. My fingers go all over the place, and it leaves interesting autocorrect mistakes on Twitter if you ever follow me, right? So they may not have this guy, or it may not be searchable at this point, but you get the idea. You can do all these kind of searches. One other thing I generally will do is anybody in here besides me using RSS still? Anyone using RSS? I have a couple people. Everybody kind of put that to the side, but I think that's the best thing out there. So, for example, I would do an RSS search on those, but not an RSS search, but I'll go to Google Alerts, right? So, alerts.google.com. I'll find the search that I like that works. For example, if I say, okay, I want to find out whenever this gets indexed in any of those type of sites, I'll take that, throw it in here, and maybe I'll say, in your site, onion.link, or whatever. You just keep building up your searches to exactly what you want, even if nothing exists in there yet, right? I think onion.rip is kicking ass right now on these ones. And then instead of create alert, because that goes to email, who cares about email, I switch it out to switch to all results to RSS feed, right? Then I create my alert, and there's my RSS feed, and I can copy and put it into anything I want. Now, if you don't like the RSS readers, I love the RSS readers. Feedly's beautiful, and I can do all my searches and put them all in folders and sit there and scroll right through and see which one of my targets are active today, right? But if you don't like them, then take this RSS feed and take it somewhere else. Okay, so IFTTT, right? Anybody use that tool? No? A few people? All right. Internet of Things, somebody's going to hack IFTTT, or I say, right? Yeah, but yeah, I love IFTTT. I'm addicted to this one. So we'll just sign up right here with the Google account I've got up here. You can convert your RSS into anything else that's useful to you. Spreadsheets. Convert it into a spreadsheet. Maybe we're not talking about when it's mentioned online. Maybe you found your guy. You got a username for Weed365. You go throw a search from the spreadsheet, throw a Twitter account from him into a spreadsheet, import your spreadsheet into a social network analysis tool, make it so that you can identify every person he talks to, map them out as a new person. Now you got another person. All this stuff can be automated for you. This tool, we go to the search and we go down here. These are all categories of everything that they, have for it. This is not the only one either. You take IFTTT, you string it to something like Stringify, to stringify.com, automate that. You can, Stringify is, you actually use it on a mobile device or, I think just mobile devices right now, Apple and Google. Is anybody using Stringify? No. Okay. Maybe a few. Okay. So, Microsoft Flow. Anyone using that one? Theirs is actually kick-ass in the capabilities that it has. You can only do something like 5 recipes for free in Microsoft Flow. But if you have, the program, it's very, very specific, everything that you can kind of map to Microsoft Flow, and then you can map that all into a spreadsheet. That's probably the nicest of the tools. It's also the hardest of the tools because of the way it maps. IFTTT is dead simple. You can, if you're doing work for your clients, especially dark web stuff, you need to get them RSS to IFTTT so that it puts them out in a profile, in a thing that they can do. They don't have to be, the professional who knows how to do all this stuff. These recipes are super simple. Let's see if I was going to see if the wiki loaded, but it didn't load yet. Let's try it one more time. It looks like the right address to me, and of course it could be a wrong one. I can go and grab instead. Let's go grab one of the other wikis from that. Pastebin. Let's see. Yeah, this address has been there for years, so I'm not sure if this one's going to be any good, but we'll try it. Oh no, here we go. Uncensored Hymn Wiki is loading. Alright. Looks just like Wikipedia, right? These things are all built on MediaWiki. It's free, it's easy, it's good software. Alright, we're going to go into, I think they're in commercial services. And I'm just going to grab... Yeah. You see, now, here's another thing you go with these guys who are running these wikis. Every single thing's a likely scam except for who's verified? Green Dragon. They're always verified. Nobody else is. So, something interesting in there, right? I thought we had... Oh, this is drugs. Let me go down here. I think they might have removed the guy that I was going to jump in on. So, I was going to jump in the clone card crew, although... Who knows? We'll just go into any one of these. It shouldn't matter. Clone Card Crew, though, the amazing thing for them was they had their Bitcoin wallet published, right? Pay to this Bitcoin wallet and then we'll give you whatever. Okay, if you give me your wallet number, I'm going to take that as a little bit of information too. I'm going to search on it and see if you're listing it somewhere else. I'm going to use it on every single web page that I download. I'm going to filter through and see if I can't find it there. And then I'm going to go into the Bitcoin trackers, right? So I'm going to go into... I think the one I like right now, blockchain.info, although some people like Wallet Explorer better, right? Wallet Explorer, I just heard this yesterday. I haven't been using Wallet Explorer that much. But Wallet Explorer, if you have somebody's wallet and that person has been identified, it will say right in the Explorer. Let's see if we can... Alright, so it's just another blockchain tracker. You have somebody's address, you pop it in here, and it will, if it has the IDs, it'll show you right there in your tracking. So I'm going to throw, if you give me an ID in there, I'm going to throw it in here. I'm going to see who you're going against, and they're all going to be individuals as well, including with the amount you paid them, plus the fee, with the fee on it, so I can kind of see where that's traveling. You can kind of track it by the amount if you have nothing else to go on. The fact that they put that on theirs, and that wallet, even though Clone Card Crew, I didn't think they were really active anymore. They've got 4 transactions, one very, very recently. So, and of course I'm going to dive into your social networks as well. If you have an email address, number one thing I'm going to do, an email address. I don't care what email server it is. I usually have 4 things I do. First thing I do is I hit Google for an email address. And I'm just going to use this as an example because it's going to split up very nicely, right? When I say nicely, not nicely, because if I'm looking for this as my email, it splits up all over the place. Of course, you're going to put it in quotes, but Google doesn't know that @ sign. Put a dot there. That just says, Google, there's something there. And with it looking like this is that email. Every single result is going to have only that email. You're not going to have any mistakes, all right? So force it to, stay together, and there's going to be one character between these two. Second thing I do with email addresses, my favorite thing is to check viewdns.info. Now, another 2 places you can check besides viewdns.info, which do the history of who registered a website, Cyber Toolbelt, and Domain Tools. I know those 2 are great places. There might be one of our vendors might have another spot for this, but throw their email in here, and even not just their email, maybe just their beginning of their username, right? Weed365 @ this lets you do wildcards. Put an asterisk after that. You're going to hit go and see if anybody who's got their username Weed365 has registered any website, because then you can go back to the who is and see if you can identify another possible website or email that's theirs. It may not be them. It may have something, for example, we put in the name. I think we'll try, we'll just put something in there. It's just going to grab all sorts of different websites. It may not be related, but you may now get to go through some of these other websites and figure out what the actual real email addresses are that registered those websites. Okay, then the third thing that I do, I like to find out if that person has been pwned, right? So the have I been pwned thing, I'm just going to do a search to grab that. Throw their email address in there, see if they have been compromised. Now, of course, it depends on what you're going to do with this, whether you look for the compromise, but at the very least, you can find out the accounts that person has, right? Okay, they got compromised on LinkedIn, they got compromised on, whatever. Then you can say, okay, now I can go look for them on those services and see, what their username is for that service, who they're connected to with there, if they have a Facebook account, who they like, whatever. So, that's number 3. Let me think if I can remember number 4 right now. I just forgot what my 4th one is. If I think of it, I'll tweet it. I'll tweet it at our live tweeter, and she'll retweet it out. All right. I think one thing I've forgotten so far for the dark web. Okay, we get to the page. Yeah, I'm just going to go back to Dream Market right now. You get to the page here, especially if it's a vendor page. Right now, I'm not investigating the Dream Market, but if I was investigating the actual full market, I would not forget to go in and look at their page source. And actually, I think right-click should give you a place to get to your page source, because I'm going to go through there, and I'm going to look for every image. I'm going to look for every link. I'm going to try to find something that does not stay within the onion, right? Stay within Tor. I've got 10 minutes left. I'm going to open to questions in a second, but I'm going to look for anything that doesn't link back in, because especially something like Dream Market, where that thing is a lot of moving parts. They may not have built it all in-house. They may have purchased some things from legitimate companies on the outside, like just even their cart connection, right? So if they import that in, they don't code it correctly, it may actually show up as a .com or .org or whatever. I can follow that back out. I can talk to my corporate or law enforcement partners and get some kind of subpoena for the IP address that is accessing who's the customer for that specific section, or, if it's an Imgur picture, Imgur's a U.S. company, we can send a subpoena out that way. All right, so that's kind of holistic. Take a look at the whole thing, top to bottom, recon of a dark website, and kind of my suggestions to use it. When you are on the regular web, do all your searches in Chrome. And the reason I'm saying do all your searches in Chrome right here is because I actually think that one tool that you need to do is have something that tracks your searching. I'm going to give a shout out to Hunchley again. This tool, all you do is you turn it on, you give it a case, and everything you do, it's just going to record for you, give you the address you're on. You can tell it to alert you if a certain keyword or something is in there. Dark Web Investigation Guide. But this thing, it will then pop out a report for you for all the different websites that you visited, and it just keeps that trail. You're going to need that trail in court. You're going to say, they're going to say, well, how did you get to that? And you're going to go, okay, well, here's my trail right here. All right. Okay. Questions? Anybody have questions? Yes. Okay, so preserving evidence for court. How do you preserve it? Hunchly probably isn't enough for court, although it does preserve the actual websites. It's going to, you're going to have to fight for that one to be admissible. That's another reason I like Scrapbook. It downloads the whole thing as a website, just inside. Okay, sorry. The question was to keep the evidence admissible in court. What kind of stuff do you need? How do you need to present it? You can present it as Hunchly, right? You can. It does keep the websites. Some are not going to be able to, keep it that or accept it that way. You might have to instead download the website. Screenshots. Can you take screenshots? My clients don't usually take screenshots, although I think that some law enforcement take screenshots. But what I do is that Scrapbook. I use Scrapbook on the website. Download the whole thing. So now Scrapbook does not work for Chrome. So if it's a ClearNet, by me on the regular internet website, I might load it also in Firefox to Scrapbook it. Any other questions? I am sitting on the mentor panel later this afternoon. So if you are interested to come talk to me then, feel free. Otherwise, I'm excited to be here at my first BSides, and thank you for having me.